Hello all, well we're back with Nigel and it's the Loganberry Stage 2. Over to you, Nigel.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. It was about 7 days ago when we saw you last, and when we met last time we set up the Loganberry wine. We set up 4 pounds of Loganberries, half a pound of sultanas and a pound of sugar. And I put some yeast in from a cider brew and it all started fizzing nicely after a couple of days. I was monitoring this by taste every day, and after about 4 days it went rather dry, and it's important when you've got a fermentation not to let it get too dry, otherwise the yeast start looking around for other chemicals to eat and you can't get off flavours. So I put some more sugar in, so we're now up to 2 pounds of sugar in there. And before we go on, I'd just like to show you what the fruit looks like. So perhaps, Julie, if you could have a look in there. Now you can see, I'll just move the fruit a little so you can see that the fermentation is still taking place quite well. You can see there's quite a lot of bubbles of gas there. I'm just going to move it very gently because I don't want to disturb it really. But you can also see that the fruit is very, very decomposed. It's decomposing much quicker than the rhubarb did in the other brew that I showed you. And this means that we've got to take the fruit out now. You mustn't let fruit decompose for too long, otherwise it starts to break down in ways that we don't want. So our first job is to remove the fruit. So Julie, if you'd like to come round, I'll just show you how we do that. Pick this up very gingerly so as not to disturb the stuff that's floating on the top. Put that over there. And I'm going to take the semi-decomposed fruit out really quite quickly, just using gloves which I've sterilised. Doesn't matter if I miss the odd bit. I'm just going to quickly remove about 90% of what is floating. The sediment, which is at the bottom, we can remove in a different way in a few days' time. When you do this, there is a temptation to use a sieve and to dredge it through everything. That doesn't do the wine very much good, and it can result in tainting and, again, off flavours. So all we're trying to do is to take most of the floating stuff out. That's it, that'll do. Would you like to just have a look in the top, Julie, just to show people how much I've taken out? Most of it's gone. And if you have a look in the actual mixture, you can see there's a little bit that's still floating there.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. It's still fizzing quite nicely. And what that means is that tomorrow morning there'll be quite a lot of material that has risen to the top, and I shall then get my sieve and I shall skim that off, and then I shall leave that for a few days, again tasting each day and making sure that the fermentation is on track. I'll let it go dry, or fairly dry, put more sugar in, taking a note each time, writing it on the label. And when the fermentation has slowed right down and it's about, say, medium sweet, then I shall ring Julie up and we'll do the transfer into a demijohn. I'll just remind people, in case they're not aware, of how you sample something without introducing any bacteria. So what we do, take a spoon which you've cleaned, dip it into the mixture, put it in, and then you can safely sip that to see what it tastes like.
Yeah, so as a reminder, you don't sample a whole glass full like some people do.
That's right, and you must also resist the temptation to dip the glass in.
Okay.
Because if you do that, well, I suppose you could do it, but you'd have to sterilise the whole of the glass, including the bit at the bottom.
Right. Got you.
So you've got to be really clean. It's so easy in a thoughtless moment to dip something in, sample it, and you've actually spoiled the brew.
Yeah.
Okay, just let's see if there's anything else that I've forgotten. Okay. No, I think that's about it. So when we meet next time, we'll take the solids from the bottom using a different method. We'll simply pour off the top layer and then we'll transfer into a demijohn and go from there.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Nigel.
Thank you.